Hey YouTubers, Ultra Maximus back with another comic book review. This time I'm going to take a look at a few Transformers comics, getting back into the Transformers comic universe again with Death of Optimus Prime, Transformers More Than Meets the Eye, and Transformers Robots in Disguise. Hey guys, Ultra Maximus here, and want to go over some comics. I haven't been doing the comic book thing here too lately. So I figured since I was doing some Transformers figure reviews, why not sit down and talk about some comic books I've been reading here lately. And I want to go over some of the Transformers books that I've gotten into. I've actually fallen out of the Transformers books. The ongoing series, to be honest, has really kind of lost my interest. I think the last story arc I followed was The Heart of Darkness with Galvatron and all that kind of stuff. And even then, be real honest with you, it started off really nice. I liked the nods to Leonard Nimoy and the Galvatron storyline with Spock and all that kind of good stuff. But to be honest, I mean, it just lost my interest. So here recently, I was at the comic book shop and Comics University on County Line in 135 in Greenwood. Shameless plug there for my buddy Robbie. And I picked up some books that kind of got me back into some of the Transformers story arcs, and I kind of liked them. So I got 3 books I want to talk about. The first one is Transformers: The Death of Optimus Prime, and definitely if you're going to start over with Transformers books, or you're jumping back into the Transformers storyline, then I would pick this up, because this is, number one, it's a fantastic book, very good read, standard, really nice artwork inside, the writing's really nice, and this kind of catches up what's been going on a little bit in some of the storylines and what's about to happen. So this is a one-shot, which pretty much what I've been doing the most here lately has been the one-shot books, and then I started to pick this back up, so this really kind of revitalized me back into stuff. Of course, it took a one-shot to do that. I like this variant cover with Optimus. It's got a G1 Optimus Prime toy on it. However, I did notice, being the geek in me, Optimus's head is turned. That figure can't turn its head. And the gun, look, it's perfectly straight in his arm. Anybody that's ever had this toy knows that that gun had to sit kind of cockeyed in his hand because it wouldn't fit on his arm there. So they've adjusted the head on this, and they've adjusted the gun barrel on there, or they've photoshopped it. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny. Interesting observation on the figure itself. So also it's kind of a used figure. It's kind of scratched up, and I kind of like that. It's kind of worn out, and there's no Autobot stickers on it. I thought that was kind of interesting. And it does have the stickers on his arm. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's got those stickers, but no Autobot stickers on the shoulders, so it's interesting. Kind of wonder whose figure that was. Was it laying around the office? Let's see here. So this book, why do I like this book? This book, basically, the story as it is so far, right? The Autobots have pretty much won the Great War, and they've taken over Cybertron. They've captured a bunch of the Decepticons. They've got them in jail, essentially. And this book kind of tells you what happens with Cybertron. It's been reborn. It's kind of feral. It's alive. It's aggressive again, and the Transformers aren't used to that. And they're starting a new society. And this book is really interesting because it's about Optimus Prime and how he doesn't fit in that society anymore. They're bringing back non-aligned indigenous life forms, nails they call them. That they're neither Autobot nor Decepticon. They're just straight Cybertronians, and they've also left Cybertron because they didn't want to deal with the war. And they're starting to come back, and Metalhawk basically becomes their leader, so to speak. And Bumblebee is put in charge politically of the Autobots, who are trying to be the regime to rebalance society and all that kind of stuff, and reintegrate everybody. And this comic's really nice because Optimus basically feels like he's a symbol of the old war. He's no longer needed. He can't be in charge because The Nails, they don't like him. They don't want him there. They don't like symbols of the old war. And he's pretty much come to the realization that his job's done. There's no more need for an Optimus Prime. So basically, spoiler alert here, if you've not read this book, you might want to stop watching as of right now. Optimus Prime leaves. He's done. And he gets into a shuttlecraft and decides he's going to do what he wants to do for a change. And, I mean, that's it. He just kind of leaves Cybertron. So that was kind of interesting. That kind of got me back into it. And that brings me to two different series. Okay? One is Transformers, Robots in Disguise. Okay, this is issue 1. And then Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye, issue number 1. Okay? So these two books I got at the same time. And I picked these up actually a couple weeks ago. And they're up to issue, it's what, somewhere around 5 or 6 now, so I'm kind of backed up on them. But essentially what it does, it takes the ongoing storyline and it breaks it into two of them. So you got Robots in Disguise and More Than Meets the Eye. Well, Robots in Disguise, talk about that one first. Essentially, this is a Bumblebee book, more or less. It's about the Autobots that stay on Cybertron and running Cybertron, dealing with all the political issues that are happening right now with all these Nails, these non-aligned Cybertronians, how they're getting, aggressive, restless, whatever you want to talk, the clashing between the Autobots and these non-aligns. And the Decepticons are basically brought in as riot patrol. They've got these little chips that can blow up in case they need to, and so they can control the Decepticons. And basically the Decepticons are used as brute force, which eventually is going to lead to issues, I'm sure, down the line. So you've got all this political turmoil going on in this book, which I love. I think that's fantastic. I love that idea. It's lots of drama, lots of politics in dealing with things. It's reminding me of a lot of issues that are going on in the United States, around the world, and dealing with that kind of stuff. I find it also very interesting that Bumblebee looks very much like he does from War from Cybertron in this. So very cool, very interesting. Definitely, if you've not picked this series up, I pick up number 1 and start reading it. If you can find The Death of Optimus Prime, it's kind of a prelude to this book. So those are two I would put together. Now, More Than Meets the Eye. This is a little bit different book. This is essentially Hot Rod and Ultra Magnus and a bunch of the other Autobots that decide they're not going to stay on Cybertron. They're done with that. They're going to look for the original 12, the Knights of Cybertron or something like that. They're looking for these mythological robots to kind of help them guide them all back to where they need to be. And Hot Rod basically puts a bunch of them together. They get into a new ship and they want to take off and out into the galaxy, and they're going to look for these mythological transformers to kind of help bring Cybertron back to order. So it's very very heroic, very romantic. It reminds me of the old Arthur quests from British stories, and it's got that kind of flavor to it. So that's kind of nice. It's kind of epic, and they take off, and then disaster happens right off the bat, and this is proving to be a lot less romantic to them as they had thought it was going to be, and the struggle that they're going to have in this series. So that's another interesting take, and I like how they divided it into two different books. They're going two different directions. So what happens to these Transformers, there's going to be no impact on what's going on in the other book and vice versa. So eventually these Transformer lines are going to come back together at some point, I'm going to presume, and there's going to be more conflict and drama and political upheaval and all that kind of good stuff. So definitely cool books to check out if you have been out of the Transformers loop like I have for a while. This is a great point to jump back in. They've taken some interesting directions with it. I really like the politics to it. I like the drama and internal conflict. I think they've taken a great turn with it, and kudos to the writing staff at IDW for going that direction, and let's see where it turns out. So thanks for watching, guys, and look for more comic book reviews coming soon. Thanks.